I'm Kim with Ladies That Mahj, and today we're talking about two-person mahjong. That's right, you can play this game with only two people, but I will say it's a variation of the game. It's never going to be exactly like the four-person version, but it's a fantastic way to play and a really great way to practice. Now, there's several variations I've seen out there. We're going to talk about two ways that you can play two-person mahjong today. The first way is the National Mah Jongg League recommendation. So I want to go through that in full because it is the most simple way to play two-person mahjong. And I think that's great. Simplicity can definitely be very good, especially for the beginners. The second way we're going to talk about is what I call the Eagle way. That's right, I'm Kim Eagle, and I made up my own little version because I wanted to change one little thing in the way the National Mah Jongg League does it so you could get extra practice in one little thing. So stay tuned for that. The last thing we will talk about is a third variation, so stay tuned for all and you decide which one is the one you want to play. And honestly, I play all three, so I think it's important to know all these different ways that you can play two-person mahjong. The way the National Mah Jongg League wants you to play is this. The first thing we do is we build all the walls, just like normal. We build all four at all the different racks. Now, I'm going to play here and my opponent would sit across from me. So that's the first person and the second person. No person on each side, all right? Now, next you would determine who is east, just the way you do in the regular game. In the regular game, if I'm hosting, I would be east, or if I'm not hosting, we would roll the dice. Whoever gets the highest roll would be east first. And then east will alternate between you and your opponent every other game because east always does have that very slight advantage of getting 14 tiles in their rack, and then they get to decide which tile they discard. So they get one extra tile to make that decision, and that's why it's important that you alternate back and forth. Now what happens from here? We'll say that I am east. Well, I am going to roll the dice so we can break the wall. I rolled a 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is just like the standard game. I like to use one die to use as a little marker. This is how I do the broken wall. I will take my rack and I will push everything out to the left of the die so that my opponent can reach and take their own tiles. Then you take the dice and they will go to my opponent for the very next game. Now, east always takes the first 4, again, just like in the standard game. And then my opponent will take 4. Then I take another, they take another, and I will take my final 3, and they will take. Now, I only have 12 tiles, they only have 12, I need 14, I'm east, they need one more. We ran out of tiles, so we're simply going to open up the next wall. We will still use the walls of each of these racks, even though these people aren't playing, we just don't deal them any tiles. So I need another wall, I'm gonna open up from the left. I'm unfortunately a little tight on space here. All right, so I've opened up the wall to the left, and now I can take my last tiles. Now, when we play with 4 people, we do 1 and 3 for me. But when you're only playing with 2 people, you don't do that because 1 and 3 for me is a more efficient way to take the same 2 tiles when there's 4 people. Now, the more efficient way to take in terms of a 2-person game would be 1 and 2 for me. So you could do that, or you could each take 1 tile at a time. I would take 1, they would take 1, and then 1 and 2 for me, that's the same tile. If you didn't understand that, don't worry, just make sure you get your 14 tiles. Now, you're gonna rack your tiles as well as your opponent will, and I'm east, so I have 14 tiles. At this point, the National Mah Jongg League says that east will discard. There's no Charleston. That's right, for all you out there who do not love the Charleston, you will love the National Mah Jongg League's version of playing two-person mahjong because they omit the Charleston. So that would mean at this point, as east, I have 14 tiles. I would pick the one I don't want and I would say it out loud as I discard north. The game has now begun. The game now happens just like regular American Mahjong by National Mah Jongg League rules. My opponent would either call this tile or they could take from the wall. If they take from the wall, they would take and then they would discard. 6, bam. Now it's my turn. I could call that tile or I could take from the wall. Again, exactly the same as normal American Mahjong for 4 people until one person calls Mahjong. So it's a very simple way to play and a great way to practice. However, I like the Charleston. Do you like the Charleston? Just understand that the Charleston is there to help you better your hand. When you first get dealt your 13 or 14 tiles, you usually don't have much of anything. So I want to show you a way where you can play 2-person with the Charleston. Now for the Eagle way to play 2-person Mahjong. And just remember, I made it up. It's what works for me. And it doesn't have to work for you. It's a variation that a lot of my clients have really enjoyed when we only have 2 people, and that way they can still play and practice the Charleston. So in the Eagle version, it looks like this. You're going to set up all of your walls just like normal, 19 across, 19 on top. Your opponent will sit across from you just like we did before in the National Mah Jongg League way. But these 2 walls, you're then going to set up a little differently. What I like to do is I will set up the full wall and then I will take 3 tiles off the top and put them just like this, 3 and then 3. And then I'll take 3 more on this side, 3 and 3. And then I'll do it on the other side as well. I take 3 out, 3 out, 3 out, 3 out. Why do I do that? We're going to use these tiles when we pass in the Charleston. Now, when you do the Charleston this way, you might get some jokers. And in the National Mah Jongg League rules, they say you cannot pass a joker in the Charleston. But this is just a variation and a way to practice. So if you do get jokers, lucky you. So these first 2 on each side are the ones that I'm going to take. I've randomly picked them. And these tiles are the ones that my opponent will take. So when I'm passing right, I'm supposed to get 3 tiles from the right, and I'm going to take these 3, just like that. All right, so before we even get to that, I actually omit breaking the wall. It doesn't really matter if you want to, but what can happen is if I roll and break the wall and I don't have enough tiles to deal to me and my opponent, then we would need to open the wall on the left, and I can't really use this wall yet. Now, if you wanted, you could just have the opponent across from you open their wall. It doesn't really matter, you guys, because again, at the end of the day, these are just variations so you can play the game. And as long as the tiles are still random, do I really care if I open this wall or my opponent's? I don't, but one way to not have to worry about it is just not to break the wall. So what would happen is if I choose to be east first and then my opponent would be east next, then we would just use my wall to get started, and I would push that out, and we would take our tiles just like we did in the other variation. I take 2, my opponent takes 2. I take my next and next. I take 4, actually. I'm saying 2 stacks of 2. And next, and now we both have our 12 tiles. Same thing, if I wanted, I do 1 and 2 for me. That is the fastest way to get the same 2 tiles because I still need 2. It's different than 1 and 3 for me. We're only playing with 2 people. All right, so now my opponent has 13, I have 14, and we can rack our tiles. Now, the difference being, in the National Mah Jongg League way, I would just discard and we would get started, but now I can practice the Charleston. So I'm gonna set up my tiles, I'm gonna do some organization, and then we can begin. I'm gonna take 3 tiles I do not want, and I'm gonna put them face down in front of me. Now the first pass is always to the right. So I'm just gonna put them out here, sort of in the middle, and then I need to get 3 tiles from this opponent because they're passing right. So I take that very first stack of 3, and I put them in my rack. I decide if I want them or not, figure a few things out, then my next pass is over. I take 3 tiles, I place them face down in front of me, and I'm going to take that and give it to my opponent, and my opponent will give me 3 tiles. I'll put them in my rack, see if I like them, want to keep them, and then I need to do my pass to the left. Now, my pass first left can be a blind pass. If you don't know about that and you want to understand more about the blind pass, check out my Charleston video. Now, I'm taking 3 towels because I don't need to do a blind pass, and I'm passing to the left. When I pass to the left, just like I did the right, I just kind of put them here sort of in the middle. And now this person would be passing me to the left, so I would be taking these tiles. I pick them up, put them in my rack. That's the first round of the Charleston. Now, as I'm doing that, my opponent is doing the exact same thing. When they were passing to the right, they would be taking these tiles that this person passed them to the right. And then they pass over with me. And then when they do first left, they would be taking these tiles that that opponent would be normally passing to them, just like that. So now we both taken our first pass from this sort of ghost wall, you could call it. All right. Now, if you wanted to stop the Charleston, which I don't recommend unless you have at least 10 tiles towards Mahjong, you can, just like in the regular game. But I don't have 10 tiles towards Mahjong, so I'm going to continue with the second round. I'm going to take 3 tiles I do not want, and I'm going to pass them to my left. Again, when I pass to the ghost players, I just sort of make this little messy pile in the middle. And then I'm going to get the 3 tiles over here that they would have passed me. Put them in my rack, see what I get. My opponent would have done the same thing. Now I take 3 tiles I do not want, and I pass them to my opponent across, and they're going to give me 3 tiles, put them in my rack. Now I'm on final right. Again, I could do a blind pass. So let's do it so I can show you how. I would take, say, 2 tiles. Say I only wanted to pass 2 tiles right now. I would take them and I would put them face down in front of me. And then I would be getting these 3 tiles from the person who passes to me. Now I'm only passing 2, so I'm going to take one of these tiles. I may not look at it because it's a blind pass, and I'll take that and I'll pass it into the messy pile in the middle. And then I can take my 2 tiles and I can rack them. My opponent would have done the same exact thing that I just did, so they would have had all of these tiles and they would have done their passes. At this point, the Charleston is complete and I can do my optional, which is nice as well. That courtesy pass, you can still do that. So I look at my opponent and I say, hey, I still have 2 tiles. My opponent said he didn't want to pass any. I was like, oh, all right, you must have a good hand. So you still do your optional or courtesy pass. And then I have 14 tiles. I am east. I'm the first to discard. So before I discard, one thing I like to do is I take all of the tiles that are here that I discarded and my opponent discarded to these ghost walls. Remember when I discarded, I said just put it in the middle, kind of messy. I mix them all up just to give them a little variation here. And then I build the walls back up with those tiles. Now, I didn't do the passes for my player across from me, but what will happen is it'll be the same exact amount of tiles that you will fill up, and these walls will now be built all the way back up so that we can open them when it comes to the next pass. So we still open walls to the left when you do it this way. We just don't deal to these ghost players, and we set up the Charleston just like that. So it makes it really nice and simple, and it's a great way to still do the Charleston. At this point, I would discard first. I would say 9 dot, and the game has now begun. The gameplay is just like 4-person American Mahjong. I play with National Mah Jongg League standards. Other than that variation, starting with play, now I go with National Mah Jongg League rules. And so my opponent could either call this tile or take from the wall. Back and forth until someone has Mahjong. Honestly, it's a great way to play 2-person if you want to still have the ability to play with the Charleston and that optional pass. Now, there's one other way that you can play with 2 people, and maybe you've heard of it. It's called Siamese Mahjong. The thing about Siamese Mahjong is it is not what I would consider a beginner game. So if you are a beginner, I would probably stick to 2-person as that National Mah Jongg League standard or the Eagle variation, or make up your own variation, because practice is practice and that's all that matters. But in Siamese Mahjong, which we're not going to cover today, but I have a video coming out on that, in Siamese Mahjong, you actually play with 2 racks. That's why I don't recommend it for beginners. You would have 2 racks and you have to get 2 mahjongs to win. So your opponent has 2 racks, you have 2 racks, and you're dealt twice as many tiles. It's a fabulous way to play. I love it, and honestly, it's one of the best ways to practice the hands because you're playing 2 hands at a time, right? But there's a lot going on. You can interchange the tiles back and forth. So keep an eye out for my upcoming video on Siamese Mahjong, but that is very different than what is considered 2-person Mahjong. So pick the way that's best for you. It doesn't matter, as I said, because these are all variations of the actual game. The thing that matters most is you're practicing, because that's gonna help you get better for the classic game with 4 people. And if you're struggling with Mahjong in general, maybe you're new, or maybe you've had some lessons, but it's just not clicking for you, I do have the online Mahjong course, and everyone is loving it. It's so wonderful that people are using this online course. We have a private community where you can ask questions all the time, and I am there to answer. I'll put the link in the details below so that you can learn a little bit about the online Mahjong course. And other than that, enjoy 2-person Mahjong. Let me know, which variation do you like?